Hello, dear Aquarius. Welcome to your extensive 2019 Astrology Horoscope with me, Marina. Today we have so many things to talk about, including the impact of the social planets, including the eclipses. We are going to talk about the concrete dates, the impact, of course, the social planets and how they affect your sign. We are going to talk about Mercury Retrograde, the exact periods, which life areas will be affected, how to prepare for that. And of course, the transits of Mars, the Sun, and Venus, which will give you a more detailed monthly information how to prepare and achieve the best possible results for your sign. So it will take a while. Please be patient. We have many things to cover. Also, keep in mind that the video is for everyone with the Sun or Ascendant in Aquarius, and you can find the other videos for the other signs on my channel, Mars Stars, or my website, marsstars.net. So I'm really excited. The year can be extremely positive. First of all, because we have numerologically the year equals 3. Which in astrology we relate to Jupiter, the great benefactor, the planet of abundance and prosperity and growth. So this is a great starting point for everyone. Jupiter is controlling, or Jupiter is the boss during the whole year. On top of that, also Jupiter is extremely strong. Jupiter is in Sagittarius, the sign of its rulership, which happens once in 12 years, significant 1 year when Jupiter is extremely positive and beneficial for everyone. Also, we have Saturn, the other social planet, and also one of the rulers of your sign in Capricorn, the other sign which is ruled by Saturn. So basically, the two social planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are extremely strong during the year. And they are actually, the last time it has happened was during 1959. So you can understand that's a very rare combination, very specific, and especially for social success or focusing on practical things, planning things related to our future, materializing things in some way. This combination is fantastic. So let's find out how this can affect you personally, because generally we say this is very nice, but of course it's important how it's played in your own horoscope. First of all, Jupiter in Sagittarius will affect your 11th house. Jupiter in 11th house is great for all kinds of social activities, things which are related to groups or some kind of communities where you're communicating with people who share similar ideas. 11th house are not simply your friends, but these are more people who are like-minded souls, who are very close in their perception about the world. So this connection in 11th house is very positive in general. And Jupiter in this house may help you to connect with more people who are close to you, who share similar values and similar ideas. So for connections, for communication with people, this is great. Another meaning of 11th house is also related to our ideals, or also to, the things which are extremely important, some kind of things that we want to achieve in the future. Not simply our goals, but mostly things which we are idealizing in some way. So you can focus on those future projects, on dreams, and creating your reality. Also, this position might be extremely spiritual, especially if you want to find the right people where you can, learn together or share wisdom or help each other, support each other's growth. This is a great year for you. So don't be afraid to meet new people, to search for people who share similar interests, to learn from others. This is a position which can really help you to achieve personal growth through others, friends, or maybe new people who you can meet. So socialization and basically focusing more on your ideals. That's one of the most important things for you during 2019. The other important position, the transit Saturn is in your 12th house. As we said, Saturn is one of the rulers of your sign. The other one is Uranus. Of course, we are going to talk about it in a little bit. Now, about Saturn, from one side, it's very positive for you that Saturn is powerful and strong. Saturn in Capricorn is in the best possible position, the strongest position for Saturn. So this is always helpful, always supportive for you. On the other hand, Saturn is in 12th house. This is a more complicated combination. 12th house is not simple. It's even difficult to describe it because it's related to things which are not measurable, things which are invisible. 12th house is related to our past. It's related to our psychological models or some kind of, emotional experiences. 12th house can even be related to our karma and past lives. And one of the more concrete stuff about this house is that it brings some kind of isolation. 12th house is the place where you are alone, where you are focusing on something or you're doing something which is not necessarily visible for others. So for preparation of some kind, whether it would be a future project or learning and exploring something or spirituality, this position is very positive. And also keep in mind that this is the ending phase. Whenever you have a planet transiting, or maybe in the progressions as well, in 12th house, it means that you are completing certain cycle in your life. The cycle is long as it takes the planet to go through the whole zodiac. So basically, in your case, this is the end of a 29-30 year period. And it is a great time to let go of the things that you don't need, to let go of the unnecessary stuff. Sometimes this can bring social isolation, this position. Saturn in 12th house can really make you feel lonelier or misunderstood, or even not so motivated to, focus on outer things, achieve things, or compete with others. Many people in those cases, I have worked with many of those because usually they feel like something is wrong. The truth is that nothing is wrong with you. This is a normal process. And we all go through those ups and downs or phases when we need to slow down or let go of the past. And during this year, you have to concentrate on that, to release the past, to be more focused and concentrated on your inner self. Also, in this case, we have to mention that the South Node is together with Saturn in your 12th house. The South Node shows area where you have to let go of something, where you have to give up from something. And on the other hand, if you focus on the opposite node, on the North Node, you can achieve growth, you can be more successful, you can have some results here where the North Node is falling in the chart. So from this, we can understand that if you focus on 6th house, you will be more successful. And 6th house, first of all, is related to our work, related to our responsibilities, our daily routines. Also, our health is related to 6th house. Basically, this house, 12th and 6th house, is one of the health axes in the chart. So generally, this could be an important topic to take care of your health, to maybe create some healthier habits. 6th house is all about habits and routines, and to pay more attention or put some efforts in this direction. On the other hand, also, 12th house is the type of isolation when in some way you're trying to escape responsibilities. And part of you may want to do that, part within you, to stay alone, even if it's not so easy, but just to, leave everything behind you. But that's not the right strategy. The North Node in 6th house means that you have to put efforts and be more responsible. Also, both of the houses, 12th and 6th house, both of them are related to supporting and helping others, but in a different way. In 12th house, you are supporting others spiritually, emotionally, you are empathic, you are, just feeling what they are. But in sixth house, it's more about the practical things that you are doing to help others. So in sixth house, it's not about sharing, it's not about emotional support. It's about literally taking care, you know, cooking or taking care of your small children, or maybe focusing on work and trying to be helpful there. But that's one of the best things that you can do. Sixth house is also called the house of serving others. It sounds a little weird, and many people, you know, feel strange when they hear about this, including me. Even I, at the beginning, felt a little strange about this interpretation, but that's true. And serving others doesn't mean that you have to neglect yourself or forget about yourself, but it means that you have to take care of others and show your appreciation, show your support in a concrete, practical, measurable way. So when someone asks you, you know, well, what have you done? It's the answer is not, well, I support people, I understand them, I'm helpful and empathic. Here you have to be able to mention the concrete stuff. Well, you know, I take care of my family's health and I'm trying to make them feel comfortable, or at work I'm trying to improve the process. So we have to be able to mention concrete stuff, to focus on concrete things. On the other hand, 12th house can pull us in the direction of, you know, isolating ourselves, maybe dreaming, maybe fantasizing. This is not helpful. You have to be present. You have to be in reality. You have to focus on the things which may not look really important. Here we talk also about small things, which you may think, well, it's not that important. Who cares about it? What's the meaning? There is certain meaning, and you specifically have to concentrate on that part. Okay, so let's see what else do we have. Of course, as I mentioned, also health. Health is important. Don't neglect it. Try to be responsible when it comes to your health. Generally, this combination may also be positive for new career projects, for work, for some promotions, or maybe even starting something on your own. So as we can see, basically here are the main influences. Jupiter in 11th, the Saturn in the north and the south node in 12th house, and the north node in your 6th house. So this combination suggests that you have to focus on your responsibilities, on work, to be really present. Help from people can be expected, from others, from your social community or group of people. And you should try to avoid escaping the reality. People can try to escape reality in different ways. Some of them may use really bad ways, as, you know, drugs, alcohol. In other cases, you know, we may just want to read some books or watch TV when we are alone, but all of those things are not positive for you. Try to be more concentrated on work and practical things, and remember that you're completing something. You're about to end certain important, or at least long period in your life, specifically because of Saturn in your 12th house. Now, speaking about the positions of the nodes, we also have to mention the positions of the of the eclipses, which are related to the lunar nodes, of course. Basically, we have an eclipse when there is a full moon or a new moon in conjunction with one or two of the nodes. And because of the lunar nodes, those events are considered to be karmic, to be fated, to be life-changing and transformative. And that's why we are paying so much attention. We are always analyzing those periods. The first eclipse during 2019 is at the very beginning on the 5th of January. Solar eclipse in Capricorn, 16 degrees. Remember to check the exact position of the eclipses in your chart. It's very important, because if you have the eclipse in conjunction with one of your planets, it will be a much more significant event for you, or even in conjunction with the cusp of a certain house, it's also more important. So that's why we have to remember those degrees. The orbis is plus minus 5 degrees. So for example, if you have a cusp of a house between 11th and 21st degree in Capricorn, this eclipse is in conjunction with the cusp of your house, which makes the event more significant, more remarkable. So the first one, as we said, in Capricorn in your 12th house, and the important part is that the South Node is here. The South Node is in conjunction with basically the new moon. So it means that in some way you have to release the past. This whole combination, South Node, 12th house, means that some situations might be repeated, or you may have to face with some kind of ideas, in some cases our fears, or things which we are suppressing or we have neglected. And when 12th house is extremely active in the chart, you can expect the past to come back, and also things coming from the subconscious mind. Sometimes it could be uncomfortable, but at the same time, you can feel freedom after that because you're releasing the things that you don't need. So focus on some internal processes, on things which are important for you. For spiritual practices, this is a great time. It's not necessarily related to concrete events. 12th house, as we said, is invisible. It's about things we cannot touch, we cannot measure. So sometimes there are no concrete events, but on the inside, there might be a storm or there might be a healing process. Healing is also a topic of 12th and 6th house. So if that's important for you, pay attention and try to use the energy. The second eclipse is a lunar eclipse on the 21st of January. This time the situation is more interesting because the nodes are in the same signs, Capricorn, Cancer, but the sun and the moon are in Leo and Aquarius. Basically, the moon in Leo and the sun is in Aquarius, which affects your 7th and 1st house. Probably the most important eclipse for you during the year, unless you have another which is in conjunction with a certain planet. But generally, we can say this is the most important. In Leo and Aquarius, basically that's a repeating situation or similar situation like the one during 2018 when the eclipses were in those signs. And 7th, 1st house is a very important cardinal axis in the chart. So serious changes in relationships or some kind of transformations are expected in this area. So focus on solving the issues with other people. Sometimes there might be possible challenges. In other cases, you may just see clearly things and, try to separate with things which are no longer needed in your life, especially if your sun or ascendant is in the 1st degrees in Aquarius. Between the 1st and even the 5th degree, this would be a very important eclipse. The next one is on the 2nd of July, solar eclipse, 11 degrees in Cancer in your 6th house. The difference is that this time we have the North Node, which is the more positive, the one which shows us in which direction we should take, what we should focus on. Basically, here we can have a clearer idea about our future, about what we would like or what we should do in our future, specifically related to our work, our responsibilities, our daily routines, and of course, our health. So I would say this is the most positive eclipse because of the conjunction with the North Node. The next one is a lunar eclipse shortly after that on the 16th of July. The eclipse is on the 24th degree, Capricorn and Cancer in 12th and 6th house. So here the balance is very important. Balance between your work and your private time, or how much you are focused on reality, how much you are focused on, some inner processes or things which are personally important to you. And generally, we can expect some kind of conflict, or that's the nature of the opposition, but at the same time this allows us to solve the issues. So pay attention to health, work, career, responsibilities. And the last eclipse on the 26th of December, solar eclipse, 5 degrees Capricorn, again your 12th house, basically similar like the one during January, only the degree is different. 12th house together with the South Node. So also situations from the past are expected, or time to let go, time to, you know, to focus more on practical things, not so much on dreaming or fantasies. 12th house, by the way, can also bring some kind of illusions or the idealistic perspective that we have about things. With the South Node and Saturn in 12th house, you have to separate with those possible illusions, perhaps. So next we have another really significant, important part, the influence of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The difference is that here, the exact degrees are extremely important, because the planets are moving really slow, and for some people they can make major aspect with certain planet or cusp of a house, for others they may not. And of course it will show you whether the planet will be important or not for you during the year. From those guys here, the most important is Uranus. First of all, this is the other ruler of your sign. Basically, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. That's why we are paying so much attention to both of the planets. And everything which happens with Uranus can affect you stronger than the other signs. At the beginning of the year, Uranus is in Aries on the 28th degree in 3rd house. It's important in case that you have a cusp of a house close to those degrees, between the 27th degree and after that, basically until the last degree in Aries. Uranus in 3rd house is actually very interesting, can bring you interesting, exciting ideas or a different approach for education, for science, for research. This is incredible position, extremely positive. On the other hand, you have to be more careful while you're traveling, especially if Uranus makes some other aspects from this position. Generally, if there are challenging aspects, there might be possible issues during traveling, especially with cars. But in terms of ideas or how you communicate with people, you may change your friends. You might be interested in communicating with much more interesting people, people who have a different perspective about life. So very exciting, generally very positive position. And basically, if you have your sun or ascendant in the last few degrees in Aquarius, it means that Uranus will make positive aspect with your sun or ascendant, which is also great for more variety in your life, for more excitement, for new ideas, for experimenting, learning things as well. Then during March, Uranus enters Taurus and your 4th house. It's especially important for people who have their sun or ascendant in the first 8 or even 9 degrees in Taurus. If you're one of those people, it means that Uranus will square your sun or ascendant 90-degree aspect. This is considered to be a challenging aspect which can bring sudden unexpected changes. One of the main topics is about freedom, about having a different type of relationship with others. Especially if your ascendant is here in the 1st degrees in Taurus, it means that while Uranus squares the ascendant, it also squares the cusp of 7th house, which can bring, first of all, personal changes, transformations, but also intense changes in your relationships, in your personal life. For some people, this might be quite surprising. It may even be stressful. Uranus squaring something in the chart can be quite stressful. And the main idea, the most important, is to be open to a change, to be willing to try new things, to leave the past behind you, not to be focused on keeping things, especially if it's time to let them go, including the area of relationships. If you are in a relationship which is in some way, a dead-end relationship or a toxic relationship, Uranus can, finally boost your motivation, or the circumstances may force you to change this type of relationship. And of course, Uranus squaring the sun is time for experiments, time for intense changes, personal transformations. So try to search for those opportunities consciously. But as I repeat again, if you have your sun or ascendant here, this is the key, the most important aspect for the whole year from all of the aspects. Now, the other planets, Neptune and Pluto, they are not so significant in your chart because they don't make major aspects with Aquarius. Neptune is in Pisces between the 14th and the 19th degree during the whole year. It would be important if you have the cusp of your second house somewhere between those degrees. It means that Neptune will make conjunction with the cusp of your second house. And of course, this is important specifically for your finances, for your resources, and all kinds of personal belongings. The thing about Neptune is that it brings complicated, messy situations. So in your finances, you have to be extremely careful. You have to be very wise. Don't give money to people who you don't trust or don't know very well. Be very careful if you are investing or buying something expensive. Neptune can blur your judgment or can make it inaccurate. So you have to be very careful in terms of your money. Now, the positive side, well, I'm not sure if that's positive, but for some people, this may change their attitude towards money. And some of you, if you have Neptune in second house, may not be so focused on financial success. You may focus on other things which are, well, related to maybe, helping someone or achieving other growth or whatever. So Neptune in second house really requires focus on finances and practical things. Also, in terms of health, this aspect might be important, but here you have to analyze also the other positions in the chart. Let me see. Do we have something else? I think, yeah, that's the most important part. Yeah, one advice I can give you. If you have problems with Neptune and second house, Neptune transiting second house, making aspect with another planet, or even with the ruler of your second house, and you're in the middle of a complicated financial situation, one of the remedies for this is to give money for charity. Neptune loves charity, support, sacrificing. And this is, a way which has proven to work very well. If you have problems with your personal finances, find someone who has more problems or is in a bigger need than you and give them some money. It could be for charity, it could be for, whatever you decide. That's one of the ways to minimize the challenges. And the last outer planet, Pluto in Capricorn between the 20th to the 23rd degree in your 12th house. During the whole year, you can see how slow Pluto is moving. And it would be an important transit if the cusp of your house is close to those degrees, 20, 23rd degree, plus minus 1. Pluto entering 12th house, making conjunction with the cusp of 12th house, can in some way, make you experience things deeply on an inner level. Again, we are not expecting so much outer concrete events, but Pluto is also a planet which is related to the subconscious mind. And Pluto can bring sometimes anger, sometimes, different things. Well, it's not so, it's different, but Pluto in 12th house can make you more interested in secret things, can make you more influenced by invisible stuff. Your intuition might be much stronger. Dreams might be very, very strong, very important. Mostly here we are talking about inner psychological processes and transformations, not necessarily things which are visible or measurable or so concrete. But as we can see with this active 12th house, Pluto, South Node, Saturn, it's really important to pay attention to your inner needs and how you feel and, basically how you deal with the past. I think that this is one of the major topics with all of those planets in your 12th house. How you're dealing with the past. Are you focused on some painful experiences? Are you ready to let them go and to be open for a change? So these are the most important things for 2019. I will summarize again. Uranus can be the most important planet for you if your sun or ascendant is between the 1st and the 8th degree in Aquarius. This will be a very transformative, very life-changing period and aspect. The other important positions are the South Node and Saturn in 12th house, which are also putting some focus on your inner experiences, on some level of isolation. At the same time, Jupiter is in 11th house, so you may receive support from others. You may find the right community or the right group of people. And the main focus is on on your 6th house. So responsibilities, serving others, helping, being more present, being more concrete, and of course, health and career are major topics. Okay, so now we are moving to the next part. Basically, until now we talked about the most important major influences. Now we are going to talk about a more detailed information on a monthly basis. We are starting with Mars, the planet of action, the planet which is related to our personal will. And basically we can use it for doing things if we want to be more motivated in certain area, focus on career at some point, or to know when we should relax or slow down. The transits of Mars are extremely helpful. So we start with the beginning of the year when Mars is in Aries until the 13th of February. During this time, Mars is in your 3rd house. Generally, we can say this is an interesting position when you can be extremely active in some kind of intellectual work. Also, communication with other people might be important. There might be possible confrontations here. Let me remind you that with Mars, we are not only more competitive and more ambitious and motivated, but also we may experience some level of tension or some kind of confrontation. So we always have to remember and to be wise. So with Mars in your 3rd house, the communication might be very dynamic, but sometimes can bring also tension. You might be active during traveling. Again, depending on the aspects, you may need to be careful. It really depends on your natal chart, but generally speaking, this is also a very positive period for active learning and active education. Mars can also be related to doing things literally, with your hands, creating something. 3rd house is also about your skills, about your education, but not in terms of, your higher education or some kind of philosophical knowledge. 3rd house is about the practical things, how to cook, how to drive, how to, I don't know, to clean perhaps. So with Mars in 3rd house, you may focus on improving your skills in certain area and learning something valuable, something helpful. Then from the 14th of February until the end of March, until the 30th of March, Mars is in your 4th house, which is a great time to concentrate on some family stuff. If your house needs to be repaired or something to be fixed or, I don't know, to be improved or something which requires working on it, Mars in 4th house can help you. The challenge here might be possible confrontations or tension at home. So be careful how you connect, how you communicate with your relatives or other family members or people who live close to you. There might be some kind of tension. Plus, here Mars is also squaring Aquarius. So at some point, you may feel more nervous or there might be certain tension. Then you have a very positive period from the 31st of March until the 14th of May. The transit Mars in 5th house makes trine with your sign. Very positive, very empowering transit when you may feel more motivated and willing to focus on things that you enjoy, things that you like. 5th house is about what we love, what we enjoy doing. So you may have more time for your hobbies, or you might be more motivated to create something. Creativity is also related to our 5th house. So focus on creativity, also more time with your children. Again, as we said with Mars, there might be some kind of tension or confrontation, or you might be more busy taking care of your kids. This is also an option. And for romantic stuff, this is a very interesting and exciting position. Basically, Mars brings dynamic energy, brings interest. So here you might be interested in someone, or you may go on a date for some people, and generally, it creates more excitement in this area. Then you have a different period from the 15th of May until the 30th of June. Mars in your 6th house, which also joins the North Node there. Time to focus on the future, time to take action about practical things, great for work, for business, for initiating new stuff, for being more responsible, especially people who are kind of workaholics or extremely focused on their work. This is a great transit which can make them even more productive in this area. The challenges might be that there might be some confrontations with coworkers or sometimes with clients, or you might be more in a hurry, to take care of too many stuff, or, you may want to complete them fast, and this may bring some kind of tension. Yeah, and one more thing, of course, with Mars in 6th house, more attention to your health. Sometimes, of course, not always, but sometimes Mars in 6th house can bring some kind of short-lasting illnesses like flus or higher temperature or possible accidents which can hurt you a little bit. We are not talking usually about serious stuff, but pay more attention during this time. Then from the 1st of July until the 17th of August, Mars in your 7th house, time to be more active in your communication with people. Time for focusing on partnerships and relationships. Especially for business relationships, this might be a great time when together with someone you can achieve more, or another person might motivate you or inspire you. Of course, with Mars, we can also be prepared for possible conflicts or tension in our relationships, but it really depends on how we are using the energies. Then from the 18th of August until the 2nd of October, Mars in your 8th house. This is one of the houses which are naturally ruled by Mars. So Mars here is very specific. From one side, it can make you really focused on something, really concentrated on something. Your willpower might be stronger. But at the same time, the risk for some kind of accident is higher. So be careful if you're driving or if you're practicing some kind of sports which can potentially hurt your body. Or also, this might be a positive period for financial investments. Mars and 8th house are both related to taking risks. So if you need to take risk, and risk can be even, investing in your business. It doesn't mean that there is a negative meaning in that. But if you would like to do that, Mars in 8th house would be a helpful position. The next period is between the 3rd of October and the 18th of November. Mars in your 9th house makes trine with your Sun or Ascendant, which is very positive, very supportive. Time to focus on the future, on more positive stuff. The truth is that 8th house is very deep, very serious. And here you might be more focused on, things which require serious attention and attitude. 9th house is much easier, much more optimistic. So here, the period is more beneficial, for example, for traveling, for some kind of, things which are important for your future, also for education, active education. Here is a great period. And the last one, basically from the 19th of November until the end of the year, Mars is in your 10th house. Also keep in mind that here Mars is very strong because it's in Scorpio, the sign of its rulership. So this would be a very important period for your work and for your career. Great time for starting new projects, for initiating things. You can be extremely competitive at work. The possible challenge is confrontation with authority figures or at work or with your bosses or people who have more power. But generally, I always try to use those transits. I think that they're very positive if you want to create something at work, in your business, something which has an impact for others. Because 10th house is basically the highest point in the chart. Basically, it's the most visible point. So when something triggers your 10th house, usually those events are visible. And your efforts, your energy, or what you're focused on is much more likely to be noticed or recognized or important for others. So that's why we think that this period is very productive. So that's all about Mars and the transits for you during the year. Next, we can talk about Mercury, the retrograde phases of Mercury. I forgot to mention that Mars and Venus are both direct during the year, which is great. 2018 was more challenging. We had both of the planets retrograde at some point. During 2019, Mars and Venus are both okay. On the other hand, Mercury is retrograde as usual. This time we have three cycles. The first one is between the 5th of March and the 27th. Mercury retrograde in Pisces between the 30th and the 17th degree in your second house. So extra attention to your finances. Try to avoid spending money, investing in something, or buying important, expensive stuff. Be really careful here. On the other hand, it would be a positive time to reassess this area, maybe to find out what needs to be changed or how you can reorganize this area of your life. But generally, in terms of practical stuff, you have to be more careful. The next cycle is between the 7th and the 30th of July. Mercury is retrograde between the 5th degree in Leo and the 24th in Cancer. Two houses are affected in your case, 7th and 6th house. During the first half of this period, Mercury is in 7th house, which means that you need to be more careful in your relationships when you're communicating with people, especially with your closest people, like your spouse or your best friend, or of course, if you're working with clients, this may also represent your client. So generally, the communication with others is the area which might be more challenging. The second half of the same period, Mercury is in 6th house, so more attention to your work. This is not a positive period for brand new work projects or career investments, or even business negotiations or business trips might be more difficult. So try to avoid this period, and also more attention to your health. And the last period, the last retrograde phase of Mercury at the very end of October, the 31st until the 19th of November. Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio in your 10th house between the 28th and the 12th degree. Also, let me remind you to check the exact positions of the degrees, because if you have a cusp of a house here between those degrees, or maybe another planet, it means that the Mercury retrograde cycle will be more significant for you. So anyway, the last cycle, the last retrograde phase, Mercury is in 10th house. I would say, well, this one is also important with Mercury in 7th house, but this can be even more important. So you have to be extremely careful in career, at work. Try to avoid new projects, brand new things related to your career and work. Communication with people who have more power may also be more challenging. As you can see, the cycles of Mercury retrograde are always in some way connected. In your case, during 2019, Mercury is retrograde in 2nd, 6th, and 10th house. These are the three earth houses. The houses which are generally related to practical things, mostly our career, work, and finances. So this is the area where in some way you need to reassess things, to be wiser, to let go of things that you don't need, maybe to restart old things. Mercury retrograde is always positive for restarting things which you have previously started. And also, I think this period is very interesting. Basically, Mercury retrograde in your 10th house during part of November until the 19th, then it's okay, turns direct. And at the same time, Mars enters 10th house. So there might be a significant shift. The beginning of November might be kind of challenging for your work, but then the very end of November and December might be very active, because at least at the beginning, basically the end of November, Mercury will be direct in your 10th house together with Mars. So the end of November and December might be very productive for your career. Okay, so enough about challenges and difficulties and things that should be avoided. Now let's talk about the more positive, the more entertaining part. We are going to talk about the transits of the Sun here, and after that about the transits of Venus, which are the most, well, positive transits. Hello to everyone. I see we have people from different places. If you have some kind of comments or you want to share something or ask something, please do that in the chat. I will answer at the end of the video. So first of all, what's the difference between the transits of Mars and the Sun? The difference is that with Mars, we can expect some kind of tension. There might be things which are, well, bringing us some kind of issues. On the other hand, the Sun is, well, much easier. The Sun brings light, the Sun brings more attention to certain areas of our life, but there is no such tension or challenges. So here we're talking about, you know, more attention, more excitement about certain area, positive circumstances and events, but without the tension. So first, at the beginning of the year until the 19th of January, the transit Sun is in your 12th house. This is the ending phase of something. On top of that, we also have the South Node here. We have the eclipse on the 5th of January. So it's time for a rest. It's time to reassess the past, to let go of certain things, and to prepare for the new beginning. So probably the best time to plan your vacation or for some spiritual work, or just to, you know, slow things down a little bit. Because after that comes a very active period from the 20th of January until the 17th of February. The transit Sun is in your first house, one of the key periods during the year, maybe the most important. If you have your Sun sign, this is also your birthday, which means that you have your new solar revolution chart, which is a basically a new program for the next 1 year. So many changes and shifts are expected here. You may feel more energized also during this time, ready to take action, to do something, to be more initiative, to be more inspired, energetic. And generally, this is one of the most positive transits during the year. The next period between the 18th of February and the 19th of March, the transit Sun is in your second house. Time to focus on practical things, concrete stuff, financial stuff as well. And also time to slow down a little bit. Not to be passive, like for example the 12th house slowing down. Here you don't have to be passive, you have to be more practical. You don't have to rush things and to hurry and to be so impulsive. You have to be precise and focused on achieving concrete stuff. As we said, for financial stuff, this is an important position as well. The next period is between the 20th of March and the 19th of April with the Sun in your third house. Very nice, very positive time when you might be more excited about things, more interesting experiences might be expected here, more variety in your life. Wonderful period for new ideas, for intellectual work, for traveling, for education as well. So third house is, you know, quite interesting, quite exciting. After that, from the 20th of April until the 20th of May, the Sun in your fourth house. Time to focus on personal things like your family and your relatives, maybe even your children or your parents. Maybe also positive period for relaxation, for staying more at home, focusing on your personal project, or just taking a rest. Then from the 21st of May until the 20th of June, positive, important period. the transit sun in your 5th house. One of the greatest, most exciting and interesting period when you might be really focused on entertainment and having fun and just enjoying life. Remember that generally the sun is associated to 5th house. So the sun in 5th house is extremely powerful and beneficial in the natal chart and in the transits as well. So when the sun is here, it's a great time to focus on creativity, on the things that you want with your heart. More time for hobbies. Love life can also be very exciting and interesting. Some new romantic opportunities are possible. Children may also be important as well. You may have more time for them, or you may think about having your own children if you don't have them. Of course, not everyone will become a parent during this year, obviously, but in some way, this is an important area. For example, during this year, when the transit sun was in my 5th house, we had to travel because we had a niece who were born. And it's not my child, of course, but in some way the topic about children was important for me. So, you know, it may not be necessarily your child, but you might be spending time with other children or thinking about doing something for children. The next period between the 21st of June and the 21st of July, the sun is in 6th house. This is a much more different position. Here the focus is on work, on responsibilities. Also, we have the North Node in 6th house, we know. So time to focus on the future, time for new career projects, for new businesses, for new career opportunities. For some people, there might be promotions. Remember, the North Node is similar to Jupiter. So it can bring you expansion, it can bring you more stuff, more positive opportunities. So here the sun activates the North Node. So one of the best periods for your work and career during this time. The next period is between the 22nd of July and the 22nd of August. The sun in 7th house is great for focusing on your relationships, romantic or business relationships and partnerships, communicating with others. So here you have to, or at least it would be positive to negotiate or to cooperate and collaborate with other people at your work, or even if you want to do something, ask for advices, or you might be supported by other people. Your personal life in terms of, you know, new dates or relationships, or spending more time with your spouse or partner is also an option here. Then from the 23rd of August until the 22nd of September, the sun is in your 8th house. This is one of the most challenging periods. 8th house is quite complicated. There are, you know, some secret stuff happening there. There are some kind of subconscious processes as well. So usually here we are more introverted. We are more sensitive and emotional. We may feel more vulnerable, or sometimes even more suspicious with other people. So generally, you know, just remember this is a normal process. For some kind of financial issues, this would be a positive time. Investments or researches, or for science work, this would also be positive period. And if you're interested in spiritual stuff, especially energy practices or meditations or yoga, are very helpful for handling with 8th house challenges. The next period is between the 23rd of September and the 22nd of October. Positive, important period. The sun will make trine with your natal sun or ascendant, which can help you to be more energized, to be more motivated, especially in terms of achieving certain goals. Focus on the future, focus on creating the things which are important for you. For learning, this is great, and for traveling as well. To plan a certain trip or vacation, this would be a fantastic period. After that, we have one of the most important periods as well, with the transit sun in your 10th house. Between the 23rd of October and the 21st of November. But we remember that here also Mercury is retrograde. So from one side, career and work are very important, but you have to be careful, specifically during the days when Mercury is retrograde. So, for example, you may restart all things, you might be concentrated on creating new things, but probably after that, things will be smoother. But in one way or another, career and social success are important during this time, and there might be some kind of changes during this period as well. The next transit is between the 22nd of November and the 20th of December. The transit sun is in your 11th house. Time for social activities, for group activities, spending more time with friends or with your community in general, or focusing on your ideas. And here it's important to have a more rational approach. This is the observer, basically. 11th house is when you're capable of evaluating things from the outside. So for intellectual work, this is also positive. And the last couple of days after the 21st of December, the sun is again in Cancer and in your 12th house. So time to slow down, time to, prepare for the new beginning and to release the past. When the sun is in your 12th house, basically during January until the 19th, and after that, at the end, after the 21st of December, this is the best time to make a reassessment of the past 1 year. And that's why, people are setting some goals, they're writing lists, because, you're more motivated to change something about your life. And now we have only one slide left. This is the most positive part about the transits of Venus. The transits which can make you feel more comfortable, which can bring you love, or can bring you some kind of support and positive experiences. So, after we talk about those positions, by the way, we have the luckiest days during the year. So don't forget also to remember those days. They're extremely positive. Before that, January until the 6th, Venus is in your 10th house. Time to when you may feel really comfortable at work or doing your job generally. Venus in 10th house doesn't bring tension, or we are not expecting, more motivation here or to be more ambitious or more competitive. You're just enjoying your work more. So for business negotiations, this would be a great time. And even for financial success, financial results from your work, this is also an important and supportive position. So yeah, important one. Then from the 7th of January until the 2nd of February, Venus in 11th house. Wonderful for communication with other people, group activities for your community, focusing on your ideas and on the future. 11th house is very important for our future. Then between the 3rd of February and the 28th, Venus in 12th house. This is a time when your relationship or personal life may not be so exciting or so dynamic, at least. Generally, we can say this is not one of the best periods for new dates, but at the same time, you may feel more comfortable when you are at home, when you are alone, when you are focusing and doing the things that you do when you are, which are important only for you. Next, we have a very important period between the 1st of March and the 25th, when Venus is in Aquarius, one of the best transits, when you may feel great about yourself, when you may feel more loved, more appreciated. You may fall in love or new dates, and basically relationships are important, of course. Wonderful transit for women to take care of their appearance, to change something, to improve. Also, even for negotiations, this is great. And because of the sign Aquarius, and Venus is also an air planet, which is, connected to others and communication. For social activities, this is a great time as well. The next transit is between the 26th of March and the 19th of April. Venus in your 2nd house, one of the houses which are naturally associated to Venus. So here, Venus is very powerful and positive, especially for practical things, resources, and finances. You may increase your income, you may earn more money than you have expected, or you may receive a gift. Also for spending money, this is a great position as well, when you may enjoy, spending money buying something nice for yourself. After that, from the 20th of April until the 14th of May, Venus is in your third house, which can harmonize your communication with other people. Wonderful time for traveling, for vacations, for trips, for spending more time with friends, or even for negotiations of some kind. This would be a very positive transit. The next one is between the 15th of May and the 7th of June. When Venus is in your fourth house, this is a positive period for relationships with your family members, with your relatives. For some kind of family celebrations, this would be great as well. Or just to, enjoy and feel more comfortable at home. Even if you are alone or if you're living with other people, you feel nicer, you feel better at home. The next transit is one of the important ones between the 8th of June and the 2nd of July. Venus in 5th house, making trine with your sign. Very supportive transit for love, for celebrations, for entertainment, for new dates or romantic experiences, spending more time with children, of course, and for creativity, this is a great position. You might be inspired, you may enjoy the process of creating something, or just to use it for your hobbies as well. The next period is between the 3rd of July and the 26th, when Venus is in your 6th house. Time for basically focusing on work, but without the tension. So here we are expecting some positive changes or surprises at work. We may feel more appreciated, or also we may feel more relaxed, more comfortable at work. So also for business negotiations, this is a great transit as well. And then from the 27th of July until the 20th of August, Venus in 7th house, the other house which is ruled by Venus naturally, which means that the planet is very beneficial and powerful for relationships, for negotiations, for your partnerships, and spending time with your spouse, or having a new date with a new partner. This is a great period. So mostly, personal stuff are important here. Then from the 21st of August until the 13th of September, Venus is in your 8th house. Emotionally, this might be more challenging. There might be certain level of tension, but for financial issues, this is positive. For receiving support or making some small investments or buying certain things, this is a positive transit. The next one is between the 14th of September and the 7th of October. Venus in 9th house, trining your sun or ascendant in Aquarius. Very harmonious for traveling, for some kind of trips, or communicating with people who have a different culture or different experience than you. Also for focusing on your goals, but in a very nice, very positive way. So you're not pushed, you are not how to say that, well, competing with someone. Here it's more about dreaming, about feeling nice about your goals, feeling in harmony with your goals and the things that you want to achieve in the future. Then from the 8th of October until the 31st, one of the key periods as well, basically just the same with the one during January. Venus in 10th house, important for your career, for business negotiations, for feeling more appreciated at work, and generally enjoying the work process, feeling nice about your career or about how others treat you at work. Very interesting position. After that, from the 1st of November until the 24th, Venus in 11th house can make you feel really comfortable socially when you're with others, surrounded by people, or with your friends, or with your community, or when you are focused on the future. So for being together with others, socializing, this would be a great time. The next period between the 25th of November and the 19th of December. A more passive time when Venus is in 12th house, time to reassess your desires, your relationships, your emotions. You may feel more comfortable on your own, isolating yourself a little bit and preparing for the new beginning, which comes after the 20th of December when Venus is again in Aquarius. Very positive way to end the year. For the holidays, Venus will be in Aquarius, so it should be a very nice period, very entertaining. You may feel more loved, you may feel more connected to your closest people for love. This is great. Relationships, celebrations, very interesting, very positive time. Now that we are over with the Venus transits, we have only one thing left, basically the luckiest combinations during 2019. The luckiest combinations between the Sun and Venus first. There will be only one conjunction between the Sun and Venus during 2019, during August on the 14th, to 22 degrees in Leo in your 7th house. Remember this period, extremely positive for your personal life, for relationships, falling in love. You may even consider marriage or a more serious committed relationship. Or if you're already in a relationship, this would be a great time to reconnect with your partner, to spend more time together, to feel more appreciated. So really positive position also because Venus is the natural ruler of 7th house. So Venus here is more beneficial than usual. The other two conjunctions include Venus again, but this time Jupiter is there as well. Basically, we are talking about the two benefactors, Venus and Jupiter together in conjunction. We have two of those aspects. First one on the 22nd of January. The exact position 17 degrees in your 11th house, and similar situation on the 24th of November. The exact position is 29 degrees in Sagittarius, again your 11th house. This is a fantastic period. Basically, the two most beneficial planets are together in your 11th house, focusing on the future, focusing on your ideals, doing something together with friends or with others or with your community, or receiving support, feeling more loved, more appreciated, especially for people who work with others or are some kind of publicly recognized or even famous. This is a very, very harmonious position when you may feel extremely appreciated and valuable for others. But for the regular people like us, this might be just a positive time for being together with your friends, for dreaming about the future, for creating your future as well with your efforts. So remember those dates: 14th of August, 22nd of January, 24th of November, the luckiest combinations during the year. So that's the most important information for 2019. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to listen to your Sun and Ascendant sign. All of the videos will be available on my channel and on my website, marstars.net. Also, let me remind you that the 2019 astrology calendar is still available. You can find the link below the video. This calendar will give you more information about heliacal phases of planets, when certain planet is visible or invisible, how to prepare. You will know how to prepare, and also interpretation of exact aspects of the transits for each day, and ingressions of planets, and more information. So if you would like to plan your year and to know what you can expect in advance, you can find the links below the video. Or if you have some kind of comments, you're welcome to contact me as well. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope it was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful year, and I'll see you really soon.